Hello there, everybody. Welcome back. I'm here to be talking about David, which is the newest film from Angel Studios, or I believe Angel is what they like to be called now. And it's a animated retelling of the classic, David from David versus Goliath. But there's a lot more to the film. It's basically his humble beginnings as like a shepherd with, the sheep. Obviously, the classic story that we all know vaguely, even if you aren't really into religion. But there's also a lot in the aftermath of that and how he becomes, like the rightful king, if you will, of the people. And so I was really curious to give this a watch, mainly because it just seemed like one of those films that makes sense to release around the holiday season. And my mom, was really wanting to go see it as well, and so I got to go see it with her. And so obviously going in, I was really hopeful that it would be at least an enjoyable film because, I got to spend time with, my mom, which is wonderful. And I am happy to say that the film was really solid overall. Now, going into the film, it wasn't just like a retelling per se of the story, which it is, but it was also a musical, which I don't recall knowing because I saw a little bit of marketing, but obviously you could tell it's by, a small studio, which it feels like in just the past couple years with I guess you could say a controversial film of theirs, Sound of Freedom, but also they've been really into the faith-based material. Obviously, earlier this year they had the King of Kings, and I believe they also have their own streaming service with a bunch of other faith-based stuff. I think they're partnered with The Chosen, which is really successful, I believe, in that community. And so seeing them be able to make this film, and they really hit you with a lot of emotion before the film even starts, because when you're in it, I guess the head guy that worked on the film mentions that there's like a message that they really wanted to tell with the film and to stay after the credits, which I will just say I highly recommend you do, because it is, he really seems like a nice guy from what we're portrayed, and their mission to show, get people into the theaters to mainly see this film, but also just to bring the movie going experience back in some way to people who either don't have the money or lost interest because of their, watching it on streaming and all. So I think that alone really made the film worth going to watch just to support. But also, besides all the stuff surrounding the film, it also has, solid voice performances. I'm not gonna lie, I don't really recognize any of the main actors. It seems like a lot of smaller, unknown actors lend in their voices. Not to discredit them, because they have done other stuff from what I've seen, but I'm not as known to what they've done. But they all did great, from David being obviously the kid version who gets some good songs in there, and the bond with his family, and particularly his mom, which got me a little emotional since I was watching it with my mom. So maybe I'm just feeling a bit warm fuzzy feeling with the context of being able to see this with a family member. But the animation, while you could tell it's more on the cheap side, since this isn't no big Disney or, production, I still thought the animation overall was pretty solid. A lot of the good music carries the film, and there's some surprisingly tense moments and emotional moments in the film as well, because obviously we all know the main David versus Goliath story, but I believe that event and how it was done, which was great, was I believe the end of the first act, which was kind of like, whoa, there's still like two more acts to this film, and what happens in those two acts after was pretty interesting, and I wasn't as much of aware because I'm not too caught up on the story of David, but it was definitely interesting to see it portrayed for people, I guess, like me, who just wanted to go see a good movie with a family member. And I will give it credit to that. It was solid all around with the animation, the songs for the most part. I enjoyed the voice work, particularly from, young David and grown-up David, his mom, the prophet, Saul, the king. I thought Goliath, for what he was in, was pretty good. And all around, just a really nice film that maybe you should check out if you, have plans, because I know there's other big films out there right now. So just throwing the idea out there. But overall, those are all my thoughts on David. Again, what'd you all think if you've had a chance to see it, or if you're interested in seeing it maybe? Again, let me know down below in the comment section. And if you want to hit the bell as well to get notified when I upload, that would mean so much to me. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!